This film is terrifying because it revolves around a sinister monkey doll that ends up wiping out an entire city. It opens with a blood-soaked captain stumbling into a shop, holding a damaged monkey toy. The shopkeeper, alarmed, asks, "What happened to you? And why is this toy broken? It doesn't even work anymore." The captain lets out a heavy sigh and replies, "Be grateful it doesn't." But no sooner had he spoken those words than the toy suddenly started drumming again, and strange occurrences began. A rat gnawed through a rope, triggering a chain reaction that sent a sharp object flying through the air, fatally impaling the shopkeeper before he could even scream. This chilling event confirmed the monkey was cursed. Each time it beat its drum, someone died. The captain knew this deadly pattern well. He'd already suffered the consequences and decided it was time to destroy the toy. As he tried to burn it, flames consumed him, but the monkey only laughed, a twisted, eerie laugh that hinted at even darker intentions. As he perished, the captain uttered a grim warning. "I'm leaving behind a great danger for my children." Then, the scene cuts to black. Years later, the story jumps to 1999. We meet the captain's twin sons, now living with their mother after their father's mysterious disappearance. Their mother, caught up in her own struggles and often drinking, rarely spoke of their dad. The boys, curious about the man he once was, searched through his old belongings. Inside one of his military chests, they stumbled upon a mysterious box containing the same monkey doll. A note on the lid read, "Turn the key and see what happens." Excited, one of the brothers suggested trying it out. He twisted the key, but nothing happened. Relieved that it seemed broken, they left it behind, unaware of the danger it posed. Later that day, the boys and their nanny headed out for a treat at the Life Kitchen restaurant. They were excited about the outing, but as they got into the car, one of the brothers, Hal, was startled to see the monkey doll already sitting inside. He was certain he'd left it locked in the box. Shaking off the unease, he tried to focus on their trip. At the restaurant, things took a dark turn. While they enjoyed their meal, Hal suddenly heard the distant, rhythmic beating of a drum. Confused and alarmed, he thought, "How can this be? The monkey is in the car." But before he could process it, a freak accident unfolded. The chef, juggling knives for entertainment, lost control. One blade flew across the room and slit the nanny's throat. She died instantly. Everyone assumed it was a tragic accident, but Hal suspected otherwise. He was convinced something evil was behind it. He and his brother Bell were deeply traumatized. Their mother tried to comfort them at the funeral, saying, "That's life. No one knows when their time will come." But Hal believed this wasn't just fate, it was the monkey. Back at home, Hal stormed to the monkey doll, demanding, "Is this all you're doing?" As he spoke, Bell walked in and started mocking him. Hal explained everything. The monkey showing up in the car, the eerie drumming, and the nanny's sudden death. Bell laughed it off and made fun of him at school the next day, spreading the story and turning Hal into a laughingstock. Enraged, Hal returned home, wound up the monkey's key again, and, in a fit of anger, muttered, "Go kill my brother." Hal acted out of anger, unaware of the terrible consequences that would follow. As soon as he wound up the monkey's key, tragedy struck. His mother, who had been in the kitchen preparing food, suddenly fell ill. Blood began pouring from her eyes, ears, and nose, and she collapsed, dead on the spot. Doctors later diagnosed it as a brain hemorrhage, but Hal knew better. Deep down, he understood it was his own impulsive action that had led to her death. Devastated and enraged, Hal returned home and stabbed the monkey toy repeatedly with a knife. But to his horror, the next morning, the toy appeared in perfect condition, completely untouched. Meanwhile, Bell was crushed by the loss of their mother. He didn't speak or change out of his funeral clothes for 3 days. On the third day, their uncle came to take custody of the boys since both parents were now gone. Haunted by guilt, Hal finally mustered the courage to tell Bell the truth. He confessed that he had turned the monkey's key in anger and that the toy was responsible for their mother's death. Bell refused to believe it and challenged him, saying, "If it's true, prove it. Turn the key again." Determined to show the truth, Hal wound up the monkey one more time, not realizing he was unleashing more danger. Right then, their uncle, who had gone out horseback riding, fell from his horse. A stampede of horses trampled him to death. This horrifying accident convinced Bell that the monkey toy was indeed cursed. The brothers agreed they had to get rid of it for good. They sealed the toy in its box, wrapped it in chains, and buried it deep underground. After that, the chaos stopped. The story then jumps 25 years into the future. Hal is now a quiet storekeeper who has cut off all contact with Bell, fearing that reconnecting might somehow awaken the cursed toy again. One day, Hal asks his manager for time off to visit his son, Pete, who lives with his ex-wife. Upon arriving, he learns devastating news. Pete's mother and stepfather are taking full legal custody of the boy. Hal only has 2 days left to spend with his son, and he's determined to make them count. Wanting to create special memories, Hal takes Pete on a road trip. That evening, while staying in a motel, Pete asks about Hal's family. "Do you have a brother?" he asks. Hell pauses, thinks about Belle, but then lies, saying, "No, I don't. I live alone." The scene then shifts to the house of the woman who had taken care of Hell and Belle after their parents died. Her husband had also perished because Hell had turned the monkey's key back then. Now, she lived alone. That night, she was disturbed by a strange, unsettling noise in her home. Feeling threatened, she armed herself and went to investigate. She sensed someone was in the basement. As she carefully made her way down, the sound of drumming echoed through the dark. Suddenly, the stairs beneath her feet gave way. She fell onto a glass floor that shattered on impact, leaving her badly injured, her face covered in shards and blood. When she looked at herself in the mirror, she noticed the smell of gas. Rushing to the kitchen, she searched for the leak. As she neared the stove, a spark ignited the gas, setting her face ablaze. Screaming in agony, she stumbled outside, only to be impaled on the jagged edge of a nearby billboard, killing her instantly. At the very same moment, Hell awoke from a terrifying nightmare in his motel room. In the dream, he saw a twisted vision of his mother and the cursed monkey doll. Startled and terrified, he woke up and noticed his phone ringing. It was Belle, calling after so many years. Hell hesitated but answered. Belle delivered grim news. The monkey toy was back, and it was wreaking havoc again. The brothers argued over who should take responsibility for ending the curse once and for all. During the call, Hell stepped outside his motel room and began hearing strange noises coming from a nearby air conditioning unit. Suddenly, sparks shot out, the air conditioner fell, and a live wire dropped straight into a swimming pool. Just as a girl leapt into the water, she was instantly electrocuted and died. Witnessing this horrific scene, Hell realized the monkey toy had grown even more dangerous, so dangerous that even saying its name could trigger tragedy. Fearing for Pete's safety, he decided to take his son back home. However, Pete had one final wish: to visit Hell's old home, where he had once lived with his aunt. Wanting to honor his son's request, Hell agreed. When they arrived, they saw an auction taking place. His aunt's belongings were being sold off. Among the items, a young boy had purchased the monkey toy. As they drove, Hell became lost in thought, remembering his painful childhood, the longing for a father who was always out of reach, the sorrow of losing his mother, and the crushing loneliness that followed. Just then, an agent startled him with disturbing news. There had been a series of bizarre, gruesome deaths in the town. The realization hit Hell hard. The monkey toy was here. During the conversation, Pete overheard them and discovered for the first time that Hell had a brother, Belle. With time running out, Hell rushed to the storehouse where auction leftovers were kept, hoping to recover the cursed toy. He asked the staff about the monkey, but they couldn't recall seeing it. The agent agreed to show him inside. As soon as they opened one of the cabinets, flames erupted out of nowhere. The agent was instantly consumed by the fire and died. At that moment, the familiar and chilling sound of the monkey's drumming echoed throughout the building. Hell now knew for certain Belle was in town, and he was hiding. Hell tried calling him, but Belle didn't answer, so he tracked Belle's location. Meanwhile, at Belle's residence, a dark truth was revealed. Belle had been harboring the monkey toy all along. He had guarded it like a treasured companion and booby-trapped his home, knowing Hell would eventually come for it. Belle wasn't just hiding. He wanted revenge. He blamed Hell for the deaths of their father, mother, and uncle. In his mind, Hell had taken everything from him. Flashbacks revealed that after they buried the monkey toy years ago, Belle had returned to retrieve it. But it was missing. Only the key remained. Ever since, he had been searching relentlessly until he finally found it again in their aunt's home and secretly bought it from a boy. Now, that same boy wanted the toy back. Spotting Hell and Pete at the auction house, he held them at gunpoint and forced Pete to go inside Belle's house and retrieve the monkey. Hell warned Pete desperately not to wind the toy's key under any circumstance. Inside, Pete skillfully avoided the traps and finally came face to face with Belle, who, to Pete's surprise, calmly handed over the toy. But Belle cunningly manipulated Pete into winding the key, knowing the child didn't understand its deadly power. As soon as Pete turned the key, chaos struck. Outside, the boy holding Hell at gunpoint was suddenly attacked by a massive swarm of bees. They flew into his mouth and stung him to death. Realizing what had happened, Hell rushed into Belle's house, but one of Belle's own traps caught him. The two brothers confronted each other, and a brutal fight broke out. In the heat of battle, they finally came to terms with their past, apologized, and made peace. But it was already too late. The monkey had begun to play its drums again, its final warning. The house trembled violently. One of Belle's traps backfired and killed him. Outside, the whole town descended into chaos. Fires raged, planes crashed, and destruction spread rapidly. Hell and Pete barely escaped with their lives. With no other option, they decided to keep the monkey toy in their possession, not to use it, but to contain and control it, preventing further catastrophe. As they left the devastated town behind, they saw a horseman on the horizon, a chilling symbol of death and the havoc that had unfolded. And with that haunting image, the story came to a close. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel.